Hello and welcome to Language of Crime, the channel where I decode the truth behind words and statements through statement analysis techniques. My name is Kristina Kolegieva, and I'm a certified statement analyst, also trained in forensic linguistics. I currently live in Bulgaria, where I work as an expert witness in court. I aid investigations, render statement analysis services to both the private and the public sector, and I participate in educational panels. That is why I would like to share my professional overview with you regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination, a case that is very popular. In particular, I'm interested in two aspects of this case, namely the writings on the casings and the text exchange. I would like to say before I start this analysis that clearly everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and my opinion, therefore, is merely a speculation, and it should be taken as one. With that being said, however, I will be handling this case if it was a case on my desk, so I will be dealing with it professionally. I was quite anxious to read the alleged text confession and the hateful casings inscriptions when it was announced that they exist, and as soon as I read them, which was over 50 times, I was shocked, and with each time of reading, my position was just getting stronger. So here are a few of the most notable points I would like to share with you today regarding this case. Number one, let me start with the flow of the exchange on this court. Many of you noted that it seems doctored, and I agree completely. There is no natural flow or logical back and forth as we would expect. It almost seems that either someone just put these random texts together or directed their creation in a way that sounded so inauthentic and rigid. This is not a typical case for a normally flowing communication, especially the one where there will be a confession of murder, along with all of the details. We're missing the many more questions and excited utterances that typically arise in such an exchange and are just not present here. Number two, authorship. Many of you intuitively pointed out to the fact that the text exchange seemed faked and scripted. I cannot agree more. However, another very important analysis that I hope will be done is author identification. I surely hope the FBI will be the one just rushing to get this analysis done ASAP, because it would not be the first case in history when someone types from another person's phone. And we need to make sure that this is Tyler's text and not somebody else's. It should be easy for them as they have access to Tyler's communication, and I don't. So what I was able to do today is to really ask myself the following question. Does the communication coming from Tyler's account seem consistent all throughout, meaning obeying one style? And my answer is no. Throughout the entire exchange, we find terms and phrases that are not typical for a 22-year-old guy, like old man, vehicle, drop point, abandon, die of old age. Not in a casual communication anyway. It's much more typical for someone older. On top of that, a lot of these terms suggest military knowledge or training or both. Another thing would be punctuation, which is a very intuitive and habitual thing, especially since the typing era began. Some of our typing habits are connected to the keyboard rules, like you need space between the word and comma or after comma. And others are very typical of us as individuals. For example, I have a friend who always answers her questions with a question mark, exclamation mark, question mark. And if I don't see that kind of arrangement, I might think it is someone else texting me. So on that note, the punctuation clusters and arrangements present are at least two different styles, if not more, but at least two. Number three, in this particular exchange, there is a lack of the burning hatred they are telling us that existed and is the reason for this murder. Now, Luigi Mangioni's records show detailed explanations on the hatred and disagreement he had for the system, insurance systems in particular. The Unabomber presented a manifesto, but his emotions were described in many other communications that were found. In here, we only have 2 sentences dedicated to the so-called hatred, and even they are general, non-specific, and vague. Typically, we can expect to read something fired up and elaborate on why and how. Much is not found. Instead, we get political language, which is aimed to say something but virtually say nothing. This is not a strong motive at all, or emotional investment in Charlie's persona, which is weird. And it's not like he unfollowed Charlie on Instagram, he murdered him, allegedly. We should hear strong justification for the serious act, but we don't. It's absurd. It's like me saying that I killed my husband because I don't like his attitude. What attitude? However, in this statement analysis, we pay attention to the words presented by the speaker or the writer. This is very important. And in this case, I was very interested in one word, phrase, negotiated out. Now, that is a very odd choice of words, not debated or reasoned out, what Charlie used to do, but negotiated. It implies personal contact. And I was thinking, so the presumed older individual with military knowledge could not negotiate something out with Charlie? Is this what we're supposed to take out of this whole exchange? Because I'm left with that. Now, number 4 would be, we're made to believe that a highly intelligent, by all accounts, A student, receiver of a scholarship, is at the same time extraordinarily stupid. He states that the rifle would be the only evidence he left out, and that his grandfather's rifle serial number could never be tied to him or traced back to him. How is that possible? What about fingerprints, cameras, eyewitness accounts, etc.? Typically, after the act, people become hyper paranoid about their involvement and hyper cautious. They start thinking about all those things that could go wrong. And how about the hilarious, remember how I was engraving my bullets? This is ridiculous at best. It sounds like a 5-year-old not confessing about eating the jam, all the while having face covered with jam. Number 5 would be huge emphasis on the rifle and the rifle alone. Now, in statement analysis, we indicate repetitive words or themes as sensitive. In this case, this is a sensitive topic, but the question is why? One could argue, well, it is because he left it behind. Surely he did not just leave only one lonely rifle behind. He was over at the campus. He was seen by people. He touched things. His photo was all over the news and the internet. And he's worried only about the rifle? That is weird. I really don't buy it. I don't think it's nothing more than the old magician's trick of watching this hand while the other is actually doing whatever magic it's doing. There is so much desire for this case to be quickly finalized, but here we go, discovering the murder weapon, and voila, it's an open and shut case. Now, finally, the casing writings are, needless to say, extraordinary. In my opinion, they do not deliver a strong message like Mangioni's Deny, Delay, Depose, which was in reference to the insurance companies. Rather, they are a random collection of ideological sound bites, not carrying the serious nature of the act. They're jokes, memes, and I almost think that they were intended to be read by Charlie. Otherwise, why write those particular things like, if you read this, you're gay, laughing my ass off? It seems too playful to be connected to such a vicious act, not to mention that even the alleged shooter expresses surprise if he should read the inscriptions on the news. Now, did he not think that anyone would look at the bullet when they retrieve it? The bullet that he shot intentionally to kill another person. Very high profile case. Like I said, there are many more questions than answers. I might be making a second video on the topic if there is a demand for it or if there is new information. But for now, thank you for joining me today. If you share my passion for diving deep into language and uncovering the truth, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. See you next time.